Just ahead on American Black Journal, this year's Detroit NAACP Fight for Freedom Fund dinner is packed with surprises and star power. We're going to get the details from NAACP President Reverend Wendell Anthony. Plus, a milestone anniversary for Detroit Pastor Charles G. Adams. Stay right there. American Black Journal starts now.
Masco Corporation is proud to manufacture innovative and environmentally friendly products for the home. Delta faucets, craft-made in Merillat cabinets, and Behr brand paints have all been designed with you in mind. Masco and its family of companies, serving Michigan communities since 1929. The DTE Foundation proudly supports 50 years of American Black Journal in covering African American history, culture, and politics. The DTE Foundation and American Black Journal partners in presenting African American perspectives about our communities and in our world.
For nearly 100 years, Ally has been a part of Detroit, and we give back by volunteering and donating in our community. We have a commitment to diversity and increasing economic mobility in our hometown. At Ally, we're dedicated to doing it right every single day.
Welcome to American Black Journal. I'm Stephen Henderson. This year's Detroit NAACP Fight for Freedom Fund dinner will be a star-studded event featuring celebrities, a red carpet, and a 2020 presidential candidate. California Senator Kamala Harris will deliver the keynote address at the May 5th event. She announced her presidential campaign at the beginning of this year. Here now to give us details on the Freedom Weekend is the president of the Detroit branch of the NAACP, Reverend Wendell Anthony. Always great to have you here.
Always good to come back home, Stephen.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel so at home when I'm at Black Journal.
Yeah, well, you were a host here, so...
Well, Lord have mercy. So I'm just glad to be back, invited back to the house.
Right? That's right.
Thank you.
So this is a very big lineup.
Yes.
I mean, it's a big lineup every year.
Absolutely.
Let's be clear about that. But this year seems bigger.
Thanks for having us. This is the 64th Annual Fight for Freedom Fund dinner. We're very excited, and you mentioned that Senator Kamala Harris is going to be our keynote speaker. She's running for president, although the NAACP does not endorse.
Yeah.
There are many good candidates, but this is a bad sister out of San Francisco. People want to hear her, and we're excited about her coming, and she wanted to come. We're very pleased with that. And then we're going to welcome Akon. Akon, one of the Grammy Award winners, but not just for his entertainment, for what he's doing in terms of lighting up Africa. He's in 15 African nations over here in the United States, helping to light up communities with energy and lighting, developing businesses. He's going to receive our Great Expectation Award. We're very excited about Dr. Amanda Alexander. She started a Freedom and Justice Center for poor and people from South Africa to North America. We're very excited about her. Darrell Wood, Sr. This young man was in prison for 29 years. 29 years, Stephen. But when he was in prison, I used to go to Ryan and the Macomb facility. Working with him, he was creating and starting NAACP branches in the prison. Right. Which goes to say and to show, even though you can be in prison, the prison don't have to be in you. Right. And you can still do some things to help your folk. And he came out, his sentence was commuted. He's now working with law enforcement, trying to counter the negativity and keep young men and women from going the way that he went. So we're going to honor him with a Great Expectation Award. And we're very pleased to honor the Harvard Hooper, the lecturer, preacher, extraordinaire, personal favorite of mine. I don't mind saying that this man has impacted my life, and that's the Reverend Dr. Charles Gilchrist Adams. He's going to receive our James Weldon Johnson Lifetime Achievement Award, celebrating all the years of his ministry. And Dr. Adams, there was an era of preachers, Stephen. There was Charles Butler. There was Fred Sampson. There was Obie Matthews. There was Tinley. There was so many. I can't even call out their names.
No, I remember
Lomax,
that.
I mean, and Adams. And so when I think about that era, they ran Detroit.
They did. They did.
You didn't get nothing done without going through them brothers and sisters.
I grew up in Charles Butler's
Martha Jean,
church.
the Queen, Steinberg. Martha Jean was in there. You didn't get nothing done in Detroit unless you went through them. They had the power. of the pulpit, of the voice of communication. Dr. Adams, when you needed somebody to speak for what was going on in the community, the political and the social and the spiritual, he was the one that was called upon. So we want to honor him. So it's going to be a great event, May the 5th. And then, Stephen, I want our people to feel special. You know, a lot of folks can't go to Hollywood,
right.
But we can bring Hollywood to the neighborhood. And that's for, we're going to let people walk the red carpet.
Yeah, that's pretty
I
cool.
want folk from Linwood and Dexter and Joy Road and Mack and Bewick and South Vernon. I want them to walk a red carpet. I want them to be treated special. Because you are special. You don't have to be out there in Hollywood. And they say, what is it like for you and your husband and your children to be out? I'm just so glad to be here. It's more than just a dinner. It's an assembly of people who believe in freedom and justice and equality. So people can come and walk the red carpet between 3 and 4:30 just prior to the dinner. And then following the dinner, Stephen, we have a president's reception. And I'm very pleased this year that we're going to have a young man who has been compared to Marvin Gaye and to others. His name is Raheem Devon. He's going to entertain at the president's reception. Now, you have to have a ticket for the dinner in order to get a ticket for the reception, the president's reception. Everybody's invited. You can call 313-871-2087, DetroitNAACP.org. We're excited about it. It's on the marquee. All these people coming into Detroit, it's going to be on and popping in the city of Detroit. And we even have things going up for Freedom Weekends even prior.
Yeah, I was going to say, that. I mean, you really have grown this into a full weekend of events and discussions. Talk about the importance of this event right now. We're going into a presidential year. We have had a rough 3 years up to it. This really matters.
It matters, Stephen, and you know better than anybody. I mean, you in the business. You've seen a lot of things, and I think you and I have talked about this somewhat before. I've never experienced a time like this.
No. Most people have.
I mean, what's happening in Washington, the gridlock, a president who's off the chain, who lies incessantly, and this is me saying that I consider him, when you compare him to Al Capone looks good.
In terms of being a gangster, right?
He looks good. His crew, I'm talking about Trump's crew, needs to be underneath a jail, in my opinion. Because what they have done, and are doing, not just to the nation, but to the world. Our status has gone down. The fact that we still have voter suppression, the fact that we have people who are jammed at the border in cages and underneath a bridge, can't get, the fact that we're talking about eliminating national health care from millions of people, the fact that we're talking about and hearing this guy say, well, I'm exonerated, no collusion, no obstruction, when it didn't say that.
Didn't say anything like
his
that.
attorney general that he handpicked based upon him saying that here's my resume of 18 pages, this is why you should appoint me, because I got your back. And he demonstrated that the other day when he said that the government was spying on, the government was doing what they're supposed to do, monitor somebody in a campaign that's colluding with Russians. That's what they are paid to do. And now this guy is saying they were spying. So I'm simply saying this is a critical time. The NAACP, all civil rights organizations, all the media, all of us need to be standing together. This is not just about anything local. This is about our future. This is about nationally. This is about internationally. This is about the soul of our nation. Which way we're going to go.
Talk about the role of the NAACP locally. We have a lot of issues that concern black people here in the city of Detroit.
We do. Among those are education. Among those are jobs. We're working right now in terms of the educational piece, the funding that the school system needs and lacks, which is no fault of their own, but we've had emergency managers. The high insurance costs that you and I pay, that we pay, which is a burden when you compare that to other communities. We pay more than anybody else. So we're fighting that, and the governor has proposed a 45-cent increase in tax for her infrared for roads and that development. We need new roads. We also need to reduce the cost of insurance as well.
Because people can't afford
They
it.
can't afford it. So those two things need to be married. That's one of the reasons in terms of jobs, we have some things coming up prior to the dinner. We have Freedom Weekend sponsored by the Freedom Institute. We have jobs. That's available. So if you need a job, looking for a job, won't get a job, come to Fellowship Chapel, 7707 West Side Drive, May the 2nd, because that day is jobs from 9 until 3. Vendors, you probably can get hired on that day.
Right.
Also, how to dress, how to put your resume together, what attitude you should have. Then we have a youth college fair, which deals with colleges and STEM programs, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, all those things that our young people need in order to get ahead. We're talking about not only a Detroit promise, but a realistic promise, how you can get scholarships today so you can get in school for tomorrow. All that's a part of it. And then we have the Dr. Ron Walters National Town Hall. That's going to be on Saturday, May the 4th. That deals with tech and entrepreneurship. We have people like Dr. Paul Judge, like Marlo Rencher, like Denmark West, coming from out of the city of Detroit to talk about how we can engage this new technology, start your business, create a business, and get money for your business. You can come, this is free. You can come to these events, and you can call 313-871-2087 or 313-347-2834. And I'm simply saying this is the weekend that we have in Detroit. We're concerned not only about international things, but local things. Everybody is involved and everybody is invited. And let me say this, Stephen. You know that this is the 100th anniversary of the song Lift Every Voice and Sing.
It is.
It was created by James Weldon Johnson, written by him as a poem for Abraham Lincoln's birthday, 1900. J. Rosamond Johnson, his brother, set it to music. They performed it in 1919 at the Stanton School in Jacksonville, Florida, where James Weldon Johnson was the principal. Segregated school, 500 school children.
Wow.
This is the 100th anniversary. We're going to celebrate that and commemorate that at the dinner. We're having hundreds and hundreds of school children to come with an orchestra to perform and to commemorate Lift Every Voice and Sing. The NAACP adopted it in 1919 as their national anthem. So I'm saying we still need to be lifting every voice and singing. We still need to be marching on till we get to victory. We still need to sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. We still need to be breathing the sigh that we have marching the path of the blood of the swamp. We need to still be doing it because we have not yet crossed the river. If this cat in 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue has done anything, it is that we cannot rest.
It's reminding us, right?
That we still have some journeys to go. And we still have one more river to cross. And I'm just hoping and praying that people who will come will see that, understand it, and get busy doing something.
Yeah, right. Always exciting when you're here, and always exciting for this
weekend.
This time's gone.
Oh, man, no, I'm just getting started.
I know. We never get to the end with you, right?
Y'all need to give me more time, man. I mean, I am a homeboy. So give me, but again, Steve, thank you. People can call 871-2087. Or go to DetroitNAACP.org in order to register, get involved, red carpet, get your dinner, tickets, come to Freedom Weekend, get involved. The struggle ain't over. Our theme is freedom is not backward. It's only knows one direction, forward.
Oh, I love that. Always great to see you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Appreciate you, Stephen.
Absolutely.
All right now.
Just ahead, nationally known pastor Charles Adams, who's going to be celebrated at the NAACP Freedom Fund dinner, is also celebrating a major anniversary. But first, here's a 1983 Detroit Black Journal clip of Reverend Adams talking about the black religious experience in America.
We haven't taken time to analyze our history and to see what is our distinctiveness. Sometimes we've spent too much time trying to mimic others and to copy their unconcern and their exclusivism and their transcendentalism and their preoccupation with the invisible and the ultimate. And sometimes we have neglected the very thing that we ought to be doing. I think that has come about as a result of the corruption of, if I may say so, a black religion by a white religion. I think sometimes we have reflected the worst of the white tradition, and the worst has been the possibility of separating one's religion from one's foreign policy, if you will, or one's religion from one's political behavior, one's religion from one's life. And when we as black people do that, I think that we too are guilty of the corruption and degradation of religion. And it has happened more often than we'd like to see. We have not lived up to our culture and to our tradition, to our heritage. Even the best of us have not done enough. And I think that we have to keep on studying and teaching and confessing and reforming.
This year, Reverend Charles Adams celebrates 50 years as pastor of Detroit's Hartford Memorial Baptist Church. His contributions to the church and the surrounding community will be recognized at a May 3rd event at the Detroit Marriott. In addition, both the Charles H. Wright Museum and the Smithsonian in Washington have exhibits on Pastor Adams. He gained national recognition for his remarks at funeral services for Detroit Mayor Coleman Young, civil rights icon Rosa Parks, and Motown Museum founder Esther Gordy Edwards. Pastor Adams has been at the forefront of economic development and job creation in the neighborhood around his church. And joining me now is Pastor Adams' son and co-pastor at Hartford, Reverend Charles Christian Adams. Welcome to American Black Journal.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
It's really great to have you here. It's amazing to think that your father has been pastor there for 50 years.
Yes.
But it has been quite a 50 years.
Yes.
And his life really stands out among so many other bright lives here in Southeast Michigan and Detroit. The contributions he's made, it would take us the whole show, really, to just list all of the things that he did.
Yes, he has been very productive in keeping a tradition alive of not only African American worship at its highest level with very high standards, but also social engagement. And, you know, that can be interpreted in many ways, but certainly he has run the gamut of diplomacy, confrontation, development, but it is actually his role in a larger movement.
Yeah.
And he understood that.
Yeah.
That he was carrying forth the tradition.
Yeah. You know, we were just talking with Reverend Anthony
Yes.
About Freedom Weekend.
Who succeeded him at the NAACP.
That's right.
Yes.
And he was talking about that generation of pastors, black pastors in Detroit, that your dad was sort of at the center of. I mean, there's an incredible amount of social capital, social power, political power that comes out of that generation of black pastors and really shapes the city that we have today.
Yeah, in most of your major cities, African American pastors carry a lot of influence because the church is the gathering point for the community. So if you want to kind of address or understand what is going on in the African American community, the African American church is there. And to me, two things, in a city like Detroit, it carries even more weight because of the demographics.
Yeah.
Because we are a majority black city, probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest,
Sure.
African American city, major city in the country, with the kind of demographic breakdown that we had, even though we're becoming more diverse. But certainly African American pastors in this city carry a lot of influence in economics, politics, education. You can run the gamut because of the makeup of the city. But this is also a nuance, I think, demonstrated in my father's ministry and his work. And 50 years when that goes by, there's a lot of politicians that come and go.
Yes.
There's a lot of mayors, a lot of council people,
Right.
a lot of Senate and House on the state and in the country. Those people come and go. But when you're around for 50 years,
Right. Yeah.
you know, I'd like to say that you might have more influence than some of these decision makers
Sure.
who were there.
Right, and tremendous influence over those decision makers. Talk about Hartford. It's always occupied, I think, a really special place in Black Detroit. How has it changed over the 50 years that your dad has been there?
You know, that's a great question, because as they used to say, the more things change, the more they stay the same. And it has been consistent, and as I alluded to, it's a bigger continuum than just his particular time there,
Sure.
because the pastor who was there before him was there for 48 years,
Right.
Reverend Charles Andrew Hill,
Right.
who was a titan, a giant. My father said one of the most courageous men he's ever met.
Is that right?
It was under Reverend Hill that W.E.B. Du Bois was lectured on the west side of Detroit, that Paul Robeson came and sang, both of them who were suspected communists, both of them who have been blacklisted or red listed, whatever you want to say. It was under Reverend Hill that you had UAW Local 600 founded at Hartford. So Ford said, if anybody joins the union, or if anybody, if anybody joins the union, then their jobs are threatened. But Reverend Hill said, look, let the union start in the church so they won't know whether they're coming to worship or whether they're coming to a union meeting.
That's right.
And he fought for fair housing. He did all of that, right, as my father was a child watching him.
And then your dad steps into that role.
And continues the struggle. So then we fight against constructive engagement in South Africa in the 80s, and we fight against the Dearborn Parks and the 80s. Remember that? We do economic development, which has been, to me, his signature.
Yeah.
And in that way, I think that he has actually come into his own. That is where his tenure is different.
Yeah.
It's the same consistency, but it is an evolution.
Yeah, it adds a different dynamic to the work that came before.
Yeah.
All right, so you are co-pastor now. Talk about the future at Hartford.
We're excited because we are also walking in that same spirit of worship and lifting up moral and ethical standards that keep communities together, that keep the families strong and the individuals rooted and grounded. That in and of itself, according to Robert Lisher, who wrote The Preacher King. Robert Lisher is a professor at Duke Divinity School, said that there were some preachers who in the civil rights movement didn't march, okay? But if the effort and plan is to destroy you, just giving them values, spiritual values, was a form of radicalism.
It's a form of revolution.
It's a form of revolution. Yeah. And so we want to do that. But then we also are continuing the economic development, continuing the social engagement, continuing finding ways that we can develop our neighborhoods. We have a saying at Hartford: everybody may not belong to Hartford, but Hartford belongs to everybody.
Oh, that's so wonderful.
So we're very proud of the things that we're doing. When we engage in economic development, we develop the Home Depot and the Subway and McDonald's and Kentucky Fried Chicken and the different things. We're working on a credit union right now, and we are We've built our senior apartment buildings world class with partnership with Presbyterian Villages of Michigan. Top standard living in the city of Detroit. But anyway, we certainly want to continue that work.
Yeah, well, it's great work, and it's great to be able to honor your dad for all that he did. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. See you at the Marriott, May the 3rd, 6
May the
o'clock.
3rd. That's our program for today. Thanks for watching. You can go to AmericanBlackJournal.org for more information on our guests and to check out past episodes. And you can always connect with us on Facebook and on Twitter. We'll see you next time.
Masco Corporation is proud to manufacture innovative and environmentally friendly products for the home. Delta faucets, craft-made in Merillat cabinets, and Behr brand paints have all been designed with you in mind. Masco and its family of companies, serving Michigan communities since 1929. The DTE Foundation proudly supports 50 years of American Black Journal in covering African American history, culture, and politics. The DTE Foundation and American Black Journal, partners in presenting African American perspectives about our communities and in our world.
For nearly 100 years, Ally has been a part of Detroit, and we give back by volunteering and donating in our community. We have a commitment to diversity and increasing economic mobility in our hometown. At Ally, we're dedicated to doing it right every single day.